Are on the other end of the spectrum, what would you say is the biggest challenge in your work?
I always feel like I need more hours in a day to do more work. So finding time to do everything that's in my head. I used to not even get 3 hours of sleep because I'd be working and making things, because designs just come to me from God so quickly, and so many. So I started to learn to sleep with pens and notepads by my bedside. So when I wake up and think of something, or I couldn't go to sleep, I would just jot it down or draw it and go to sleep, you know. So I always need more time.
Welcome to another edition of the Imagine Exposure podcast, the podcast that seeks to help young people reverse engineer their career goals by talking to dynamic and diverse professionals from A to Z. Today we have a very dynamic professional who is coming from the spaces of Orangeburg, South Carolina, St. Matthews area in general. And but she's an internationally renowned custom jeweler, and she has an amazing story. I'm welcoming none other than Miss Karen Roache of Another Phase with Karen Roache. How are you doing, Miss Roache?
Hey, Zach, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. The first question that we try to ask each guest is, who are you and how do you define yourself?
Who am I? I have to say, first, I'm a child of God.
Okay.
Some might say that has nothing to do with business, but I think it has a lot to do with my business. But I am, that's the first thing. I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt, I'm a sister, I'm a friend,
Mhm.
all who have, and I happen to be a jewelry designer. I work with semi-precious and precious stones, ancient beads and artifacts, shells, pearls, many, many, many other things. I work with thousands of different types of pieces, but I'm a jewelry artist, jewelry designer. That is what what my profession would be.
Awesome, awesome. Um, what is your story as it pertains to working vocation? What's your story?
What is my story? What do you mean when you say what is my story?
It's based on how you would like to share. Everyone has a different lens in terms of what they want to communicate. If you want to focus more so on the business or why you decided to get into custom jewelry, but what has led you to the point that you're at right now?
Wow. Well, I graduated from Hampton University in Virginia, and with all hopes and intentions on being a clinical psychologist. And I came home, I missed the scholarship deadline, and it was really expensive to go to Pepperdine, where I wanted to go in California. And my dad said, okay, well, why don't you come home and work for a year? And I did, and that's when I got into making jewelry, playing around with it really, and then saw that it could be something that, not that it could be, but saw that it was really something I enjoyed. It made women feel good, made me feel good. And I said, I think this is my path. I'm gonna go down it and see what it brings. And I started selling to individual people. I started with wire. As a matter of fact, Mr. Earl Middleton gave me my first bundle of copper wire. It was on the side of the building, and I asked
Wow.
him for it. I said, well, I think I can make something out of that. And but I started with wire, and then I progressed to beads, and then stones, and then more antique, incorporating antique pieces, and just started traveling to get stones, getting stones from people who travel, different artifacts. And I just incorporate all of that into my work, and started selling to people. Then I started selling to stores, and now I sell to over 7,000 stores. Well, since COVID, that number has dropped. I don't actually know what the actual number is now, but I guess that's my story. A part of it. I have several stories down. I could take you down many paths, but I'll stop there.
No, I appreciate that. And interesting when you said Mr. Earl Middleton, because I think we've had several with the guests that we've had have connected the dots to the Middletons, different family, but definitely very influential in the Orangeburg, greater Orangeburg community.
Yes.
What would you say is the biggest misconception of your job as a customer?
I think I know the biggest misconception is that it's easy and that it's always fun, that it's very glamorous and easy and cute. And it's sometimes very little, maybe 10% of that would be true, but that is the biggest misconception.
Okay.
That is not hard work, and it is.
Who are the people in your vocational story in which you're the most grateful for?
Mr. Middleton, and he was always so positive after that. Many people in the community, in the Orangeburg community, were positive. My parents, most definitely, although in the beginning they weren't for me, they wanted me to go on and get a PhD, and they wanted me to be safe, which I understand, which is what a parent does. My family, my sister, my brothers, my friends were all supportive. I remember, well, and customers, and my customers, my dear customers some who've been with me for 30 years. I remember a minister told me one time, this was after I'd been in business for more than 20 years. I was flustered. My father had just passed, and I was like, okay, she owned a store in Texas, in Houston, and she said, she listened to what I was saying. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the things to you. You know, my father passed, and she said, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. And she said, Karen, slow down. She said, people will wait. You respect people, and they'll understand, and they'll wait. And I was like, oh no, they won't. But that was some great advice, and that's something I've taken when I get overwhelmed, which I'm a workaholic, and I can go for hours and hours and hours without eating, without drinking water, and I have to always remind myself, and it's something I say to myself, everything is never enough. When you work hard, when you continue to work and work and work, and you don't stop, or you have to stop, you have to be good to yourself. And that's something I've learned really, really during COVID. You have to take time out for yourself. Your customers will be there. Hopefully they'll be okay. And you have to, for a person like me, some people don't have to be told that to make themselves important, but I'm a person who put everybody ahead of me, and my business ahead of myself, my health, everything. And that's not the thing to do. And that's something I guess an older business owner would come to, because my younger self knew that, but didn't take heed. But there's several people down my career path who gave me snippets or good chunks of wisdom, advice, courage, love, all of that.
That's great advice. I mean, I think especially when someone is in their passion or what they're passionate pursuing, you can forget to take care of yourself. You can forget to get sleep. You can forget to proper diet, exercise, all of those different things. Get vacation, rest, which are so essential to you functioning as the person who is leading in that particular business or passion project. So that's good advice. So the question, a lot of times when people are in their adult career path, they can find traces of what they were like when they were kids. And I think it's a helpful a way of having young people to look at professionals as they are already developed and saying, hey, these are some things that were really good about my childhood, things that I was passionate about, things that I moved towards when I was younger. But this is what a more fully developed form of that. And so the question specifically is, how did your childhood passions as a kid prepare you for your adult career choice?
Yeah, I did a lot of crafty, artsy kinds of things. I always loved art. And for young people looking to find or looking to tap into their passion, I would say follow your heart and follow your passion. And see if there is a niche you can fulfill in the area that you want to go into, specifically in the community. There are a lot of things that, for instance, Orangeburg or St. Matthews or little small towns need that we overlook, and some things that we are good at. I would say when you're good at something, pursue it. Definitely pursue it. A lot of times, because people want to be safe, they want to keep you in a certain path or on fulfilling their own goals or fulfilling their own passion, their passions. They want their child to fulfill their passions. But I say, look at what you're good at and follow it. And maybe in some cases there wouldn't be an opportunity to make money from it, but in some cases there would be, to make money in terms of making a life or a lifestyle for yourself and a family.
So this next question is about the economy of words. How would you explain what you do as a professional in one sentence? Then how would you explain what you do as a professional in one word?
In one word?
So the first one is to explain what you do in a sentence, and then do it in one word.
The one word would be artistry. And what I do, I am a jewelry designer, jewelry artist who makes jewelry. Oh, I've already messed up the sentence. I am an artist, a jewelry designer who makes jewelry from semi-precious and precious stones and other elements. Okay.
Okay, you gonna say something?
No.
Okay. What would you say you love the most about your job?
It makes me happy.
Makes you happy. All right. On the other end of the spectrum, what would you say is the biggest challenge in your work?
I always feel like I need more hours in a day to do more work. So finding time to do everything that's in my head. I used to not even get 3 hours of sleep because I'd be working and making things, because designs just come to me from God so quickly and so many. So I started to learn to sleep with pens and notepads by my bedside. So when I wake up and think of something or I couldn't go to sleep, I would just jot it down or draw it and go to sleep, So I always need more time.
No, I totally understand that. I feel like creatives, people that are artists, writers, that is a gift that you have to I don't know how to harness that, but it's very difficult, but it's a good gift to have.
Mhm.
Um, what steps must a person accomplish to either become certified or respected in your profession as a custom builder?
Well, um, there's no real certification. I did get a certification to be a silversmith and a goldsmith, but that wasn't necessary just to design jewelry. I've taken beading classes and all kinds of different classes, but to be a silversmith or a goldsmith, you need a certification. Um, I just started, and I just started making things, and then I would sit with people to teach me with different teachers, and then I started just developing my own styles and my own way of doing things. But a special certification you don't need.
Okay. And just for clarity, so you said a silversmith and a goldsmith, are those just people who work with silver and gold? Is that
Yes, sterling silver and gold, but everything that I do is not sterling silver nor gold.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay, okay, awesome. How would you say a person in your field either negotiates salary or the value of your services for this career choice? How do you decide on what a piece is worth?
The Small Business Development Center at South Carolina State, um, and I've forgotten his name, but he was the director at the time. When I was trying to understand that, really understand business, and I would say to young people, when you want to get started in business, definitely go to a small business development center and get some help, some encouragement, some suggestions as you're moving forward. But I was trying to understand how I could assign values to different things, and what I learned was you value your time, um, and for me, because I work with goods, you know, each thing has a value, and that's very important. So that has to be factored in, the cost of each one of those. Even if I buy them, and I do buy them by the 10,000 pieces, everything has to have a value. You have to assign everything when you're selling something, and some things people do not think about, but you have to factor everything in. If I'm working with a piece of turquoise, how long did it take me to shape that piece? How much did that piece cost me? How much are the beads that go on it, the silver, the bronze, whatever. So all of those things factor. So each piece has a different value based scientifically on the value and the time. And that's how I come to some things really take so long. It's like, okay, this would cost $2,000. But then that's when I say, well, I enjoy doing it. You know, it might have taken me like 3 days or whatever, but so I mean, of course I couldn't get the time for things like that. So you have to also you have to be also realistic and fair to your customers as you're assigning values to your goods.
Sure, and I think it's an important and a key piece, specifically in communities of color, because I feel like that's one of those conversations that we don't have. We don't have, whether it be in the educational system, we don't have as many outlets where we can talk to people about what does it look like to value what we're doing. And so I think that that's great wisdom and advice, and I think that that is something that every entrepreneur or someone who is launching a business has to spend some time mulling over, is what is each product or service, what is it valued at?
Yes.
This is
And
this
I believe also, Zach, that is an opportunity for a person with an emerging business to see if it's realistic, if their business is realistic in this broad market of everything, you know. I just wanted to say that as well.
Absolutely. This is a time machine question. Based on what you now know about your vocation, what advice would you give yourself if you can go back on the first day of the job?
Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. Do more personal things, because my business engulfed my life for a very long time. That's what I would tell myself. Enjoy life as well. Have a balance with life and business. Yes.
Very important. How do you prepare to one day transition from this role? Is there a vision for in-game retirement transition?
Oh, what a great question. Yes, and I probably speak like somebody who's ready to retire, but do I have, yes, I don't have an age, and I'm going to make the statement, but I don't know what old is, because my 18-year-old niece would say I'm old at my age, over 50, but I don't want to be old and still running at the pace that I'm running at, or that I well, I'm not doing that, going at the pace now. Everything is, I think, is a slowdown, and COVID made me do that. Take a lot of things in and slow it down. And but I don't know what the age would be that I'm going to retire, but I know I don't want to be old, and I don't know what old is. So, but yeah, I think a better answer would be, and a better statement to business owners or young people would be, prepare. And that is something that I have been doing, thank goodness. You know, you prepare, you invest your money, I believe, you save, you don't spend everything. As soon as you make something, you don't go and spend it. You know, you reinvest it in your business and you save, because there will come a time, because everyone, if we live, we get older. And, you know, something may happen, you know. Always prepare, and be able to do whatever you need to do. You know, if you look into your savings and say, well, you know, just like COVID, who knew, you know, who knew that our lives would be stopped, our income would be stopped? You have to have something to fall back on. And if you get older, if you live, you get older, and you always need something. So I would say prepare. And yes, I have been preparing and still prepare. I prepared from the very start of my business for retirement.
Okay. These are the last two questions. I feel like our interview is going really quickly. This is called the Cultivate Countdown. What I try to do is I want to talk to each professional from each field. And with this particular countdown, we ask, what are the 3, 5, 7 steps to excel in your career path? Just more so kind of, what are the principles of your business? When you go and you think about another phase and what you're doing, if you were passing this on to another custom jeweler and just kind of words of advice, what would be your Cultivate Countdown to be a custom jeweler, or essentials or principles that you take with you every day in your work?
Always keep God first. And that's with everything, but in business, you know, you stay honest. You be fair. Don't try to make all the money you can off one sale. And that means you have to work put in the work. Listen to your customers. For example, when I first started doing jewelry, I like big earrings, so I only made big earrings. And people would tell me all the time, even my sister, I can't wear them. I just need something small. I was like, okay, for the first, few years, I was like, well, I'm just going to be big earring person and a little earring. And then people start saying, I love your designs, but I need it sized down. I need it, I need this, I need that. And if you don't listen to your customers, you'll just be in your head and in your box. And we have to be broader than that, because business and making a livelihood has to be broader than just your experience or your taste or what you want. So I would definitely say, listen to your customers, remain steadfast. And sometimes you have to also, as I say, listen to your customers, you have to also not listen. The negativity, or the naysayers, even people who love me the most were not in favor of me going into business. And I understand that. So I say, as you listen to people and as you evolve, also stay true to yourself. And that sounds like a double-sided thing, but it is. You keep evolving and you keep changing, and that's something else. Keep it different. If you have faithful customers, like I said, I've had customers for 30 years, they don't want to see the same thing. My customers will tell me in a minute, oh, Karen, I've seen all that. And I'm like, no, you haven't, because I'm always changing. Keep looking, and they're like, then I keep showing, and then I say, okay, yes, that's something different. That's something new. So I would say definitely keep evolving, keep changing. I'm not so much into the trends, the latest trends. I feel like I'm a trendsetter, and I set my own trends. I set my own pace, but I do listen, I do look, and I do pay attention to people. And I would say be very sensitive. As you listen, be sensitive to your customers' needs while having a tough exterior to stay steadfast on your own path. But listen and be watchful and be open. Don't be closed or closed-minded. Open up, open yourself up, open your thoughts up to receive as things come out, things come in. Those are some of the major go withs, I guess, things that I feel every day, things that are always stationary in my head, those thoughts and those viewpoints.
I think those are a great list. It's a great list for someone to look into as they're thinking about getting into that career field. And I think that a lot of what you said can connect to even other genres and other fields, specifically for entrepreneurs to listen, but at the same time have your own focus, your own kind of vision, and because there are a lot of things you have to be able to block some of those things out. So I definitely get that. All right, this is our last official question. This is, so for the last two questions, we put them on memes and we kind of put them around the internet and that sort of thing. So if there was one motivational quote that was a Roacheism, a Karen Roacheism, what would you want people to know? A unique quote for you that's your motivational quote.
Keep it moving, keep changing, keep evolving.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. Last but not least, any final thoughts? Any places where people can go to find your jewelry? What are some places that you can kind of direct our audience?
Anotherphase.net is my website. Check it out. Yes.
Awesome. Well, Ms. Roache, I really appreciate your time and willingness to share your insight and your expertise. And we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great to see you. Hello to your parents, who are my friends, who I love.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. God bless you. Bye-bye.